My name is Craig Savage. This is home, man. Like this is where everything began. Back-to-back state championships brings back old memories. 95, 96, 96, 97. My name is Craig Savage. Of course, we're here. You know, we won back-to-back state championships, 95, 96, and 96, 97.
When did you start playing basketball? Like, who introduced you to basketball? Do you remember what age you were when you first started playing the game?
Everything started back, at my parents' house and outside of Oak City. We had like full court. I don't know if you remember. We had full court, 9 feet goals, and probably I would say third, fourth grade. And my older brother Thurman, man, him and his friends used to be battling it out in the back, and I was small then, and I used to hang out right where they were playing, and they used to be playing. I was like, man, I want to play, man. I said, y'all all out here and y'all having fun, and I can't have fun. I want to play. And Thurman always used to say, man, you too little, man. Get off the court. Get off the court. You're in the way. So I wanted to play so bad, man. I just had it in me. So I would just hang around the goal, and while they shooting and playing, when the ball came my way, I would run and grab it, and I would take off running so they couldn't play because they wouldn't let me play. So I was so upset, and then Mom would come behind me. It was like, Craig, get the ball up. And I was like crying. I said, man, I want to play. They won't let me play. And they always say, Craig, you too small. But I just had the heart for it, man. It was a long time ago, man. So, that's a funny story.
Yeah. Well, was basketball the only sport that you played growing up, or did you play anything else?
Yeah, I played baseball. I kind of was introduced to baseball at a young age. Of course, Oak City, it's a small area, so we didn't. Back when I was coming up, we didn't have recreation basketball, so baseball was kind of the sport to play. So I grew up playing, baseball, and kind of was introduced to basketball still at an early age. Being the manager here, starting in 4th grade, and my dad, which is my stepdad, but I call him my dad because he kind of raised me. He was assistant coach with Mr. Coppage, and kind of hung around that for a lot, being the manager 4th, 5th, and 6th. So, and I began to learn more under those guys, being the manager and watching older people playing and kind of playing against them in practice and things.
Okay. Was one of your brothers playing when you were managing? Or
yeah, Thurman was playing over there at Roanoke. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I think I probably was in 6th grade. When I don't think he played his junior year, but I think he played his senior year. So I used to go over to watch them play when I was in 6th grade. I actually used to go to some of the practices there, and I actually was able to participate sometime in the practices when they were shorthanded. So it was a good experience.
I know you mentioned, well, I know from experience because I saw it happen, but
yeah.
I know that you were dunking in middle school. You were one of the first people I saw dunk in middle school. Do you remember what age you started dunking and when you got your first in-game dunk?
Yeah. Now, my first in-game dunk was called a travel. That was my 7th grade year. I think we was in Backgrass. And I remember stealing the ball at half. And I don't remember exactly how I traveled, but I know the referee called travel. And he blew the whistle, and I took a few more steps, and I dunked it. And then, the crowd just went crazy. And now back then, it wasn't real common for middle school to have dunks in middle school. So I remember Mr. Coppage, he actually went to the referee during halftime and asked him, was it legal to dunk at middle school? So I remember him coming to me at halftime. I was like, yeah, you can dunk, but just make sure when the referee blow the whistle, you don't keep on going and dunk because you can get a technical foul. But my first legal dunk, I think we was talking about a while ago, was here at West Martin. I remember stealing the ball against Janesville, and the goal was on the stage. It was a little lower, it wasn't quite 10 feet, but that was my first like in-game dunk in middle school.
Was that your only one in middle school? Or did you
No, I think I got a dunk about every game, at least one about every game.
And that was 7th grade or 8th grade?
And that was 8th grade, yeah. But 7th grade, I needed a few more steps to dunk. You know, I kind of had to get a long running start. But the time I got to 8th grade, I was dunking easy because time 8th grade, I was 6'4". By 8th grade, so I could dunk it easy.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Yeah. Remember how tall you were?
Yeah, I think 7th grade, probably about 6'1", 6'2", but I kind of shot up a few inches 8th grade, and I was able to dunk it easy then.
So at that point, did you have like aspirations to go on and play like college ball, or like were you just happy to be playing basketball at that time?
Well, I was happy to be playing basketball, but back in 7th, 8th grade, man, we all kind of always talk about it in class. We always wanted to play college and professional ball. That was always a dream, you know, back then, because back then we didn't have the technology that kids have now. So the only thing we did was go outside and play basketball, play baseball, play kickball. So that's the only thing we did. So everybody always wanted to play in the NBA or play college ball. So I wanted to play college ball and professional ball at an early age. So, but when I realized I was good enough to play, it was probably in the regionals of our first state championship. Before we got to our first state championship, I received a letter from East Carolina, and Mr. Ack, Coach Ack, he came up to me a few days after we had won the state championship. And he gave me a letter, and I looked, and I was like, East Carolina. All right, I might be good enough to play college ball one day. So,
did you attend any camps coming up through middle school or high school?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I have actually something in my bin when I attended Carolina basketball school from my freshman year. It was the summer of my freshman year. My aunt I remember she drove me up to Chapel Hill to sign me up for Carolina basketball camp. And I think we called it like a day before the deadline. And when I walked in, she went up to the secretary and said, was it too late? And she was like, this is the last day. So it was like, the lady said, here's the paperwork. So my aunt started filling out the paperwork, and there goes the door open, and it's Phil Ford. And I was like, oh my God, this is Phil Ford. You know, for me being a child and knowing who Phil Ford was, and he came in, introduced himself, and I was shaking. I was like, hey, how you doing? And it was just funny. It was just, meeting him was a really good experience for me at that age. And then after we finished signing up and we walked out, and I remember I was saying, Bruno, I said, I'm going to do good. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to make you proud, make my mama proud. And I looked up, and here goes Shamon Williams walking that way. And I'm looking, I was like, oh my God, that's Shamon Williams. Like, and I told her, I said, Bruno, can I go back and get his autograph? She was like, Craig, he's probably going to workouts or something. She said, you'll be back up here this summer, so you'll see him all. So it was a good experience.
Was there anybody else that you saw there that you recognized? Or?
Oh, yeah, I saw like Eric Montrose. Jeff McGinnis was actually one of my coaches in my group. George Lynch, I think he was a pro by then. I don't know if you remember Serge's record. He was like 7'4", 7'5". He was a big guy. I saw a lot of them, man. Like I said, Shamon Williams, Jerry Stackhouse. Man, it was a lot of guys. And then I think that year, I don't think Vince Carter was there, but his assistant coach in high school was up there kind of working the camp. So I think it was the year that he was about to come in And I remember him saying that if y'all don't know who Vince Carter is, y'all will know pretty soon. So it was a good experience, man.
Thinking about those players that you just mentioned, do you remember at that time what players you most looked up to or that you patterned your game after at that time?
Well, of course, back when we was kids, everybody looked up to Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. We all like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. I don't think I really patterned my game after anybody in particular, but I think I looked and took bits and pieces of players and wanted to kind of I guess so-called mock them. But and everything I learned from playing against older guys here in the gym and on my dirt court back at home. Everything I learned, and of course from my older brothers. Just practicing, man. And I encourage young kids today, if you want to get better, you have to spend the time in the gym or at home on the court. In my case, it was the dirt court. You have to spend the time to get better, man. If you don't spend the time yourself to want to get better, you won't get better.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about them dirt courts.
Yeah. It started off as grass, but after you play it for a while, it eventually turns into dirt, man. And we had some battles back at my house, full court, 9 feet goes, man.
You were one of the only places that had a full court.
Yeah. and it was like wood poles, and I remember my daddy helped me cut out the wood backboard, and one of the rims didn't have the little pieces to put the net in, so we taped the net around it. It's crazy what we did back in the day just to play the game, man. Yeah. It was good times, man.
Yeah, so at West Martin, who were some of the guys that you played with at West Martin during that time in middle school?
Well, my 7th grade year, that's the year we won the championship. We was 12-0. Let's see, Travis Council, he was like one of the guards. It was a long time ago. Douglas Pitt, Darryl Shepard, Terrell Perry, Jermaine Dickens. He's a pretty good player. Let me see. I'm sorry if I forget somebody, but that's just some. Just some of the players that popped in my head in my 8th grade year. Like you said, Eric Hoggart, Jermaine Dickens, Tom. I forgot what Thomas' last name was. I don't know where Thomas is at. Kevin Wiggins, Dane Byers. His daddy was a police officer here in Oak City for a long time. Those are just some of the guys that I remember. It's a good time. We're talking a long time ago, early 90s. So I'm sure I forgot a lot of guys.
I saw the trophy, the 12-0 trophy, 1993. I didn't realize y'all went 12-0.
Yeah. It was a good year, man. We had a really good team that year. And I almost I saw it leading up to it when we was younger. We used to, Mr. Horton had his that black stick that we used to play basketball out here on the court every morning before school. And then Mr. Horton would come out, and we knew he didn't have to say anything. He would just hold his black stick up, and everybody knew that was the end, and it's time to come and go to class. So, but back in the day, man, it was different, man, because the adults, they didn't have to say much, but you had that respect for them, and you knew they didn't play. So when they looked at you or told you to do something, or just you knew to do it. Yeah.
Well, I believe you played varsity all 4 years at Roanoke, right?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? And did you start on JV and then get moved up, or did you just start on varsity right away? How did that happen?
Well, I started on varsity right away. I think Coach Ack kind of let my brother Anthony, he talked to my parents. He said he knew I had potential, and he wanted to see where my weakness was, and he didn't think me playing JV, he didn't think he would be able to see my weakness, so he started me out on varsity, and which I'm glad for that, because I think if he would have started me out on JV, I probably wouldn't have worked as hard to improve my game to get better. So starting me out on varsity, I was able to, play against older guys, and I was able to see my own weakness playing against older guys.
What was the transition like going from middle school basketball to high school? And did you start right away on varsity, or did you have to did you ever start on varsity your freshman year?
I think I started one game my freshman year. I think it was a tournament game or a playoffs. I remember I had to jump in the tip-off. I don't know what happened. Something might have happened, and I remember Ernest. He what we called him Binky. He couldn't start, so I started that one game. But no, I had to work. I had to work my way up into my freshman year. I played in some key games, but sometimes I sat because it was a lot of learning my freshman year, especially playing against older guys. But yeah, making the transition from middle school, especially a small middle school like this, and to playing to varsity basketball, yeah, it was a big transition. And Roanoke is known for having good athletes. And so when I got over there, I saw how good some of those athletes, were. So I think, playing against the older guys, when I wasn't as good as I thought I was. So, it had to make me work extra hard to get to that level. I could play with them, but my freshman year, I want the best person, on the team, or the best person on the floor. I had to work hard to become, try to become one of the best, players on the floor.
Who were some of those seniors on that team? Some of the leaders or the seniors that played on that team your freshman year?
Oh, let's see here. Let me see. I'm gonna try to remember as best I could. He was talking a long time ago. Andre Duggins, he was pretty good. I think he was a senior. Jamie Hyman, he was a senior. I remember Andre, Jamie. I don't remember any other seniors. I think we were kind of young my freshman year, so I saw the potential in our team because we were young. As a matter of fact, I saw potential back when I was in middle school because across town in Hamilton, which was our rival, they had Derek Jenkins, Nick Bennett, they had some players over there. And then we had me, Jermaine, 3 players here. And then I heard about Blake, Mickey, Binky, then I think Cedric Razor, he was already at Roanoke. And I was like, man, when we put all this together, man, we possibly could, do something, maybe win some state championship. And, back then I was just talking, but I knew we could be good, but I didn't think we would do that right there, But I thought we would at least try to, get close to being one. But yeah, man, it was great accomplishments, man. Yeah.
So what was your what kind of season did y'all have your freshman year? How far did y'all go?
I think we had a decent season. I don't know how many games we won, but I know we made it to the playoffs. We won our first round against Swansboro. As a matter of fact, I remember hitting a key shot to take the lead. I hit a 3 right over there in the corner, right in front of the cheerleaders, to kind of take a lead for us to win the first round of the playoffs against Swansboro. And then the second round, we went to Northampton East, and they put us out in the playoff. They were pretty good that year. They had I forgot that shooter name, but they had a really good shooter, and man, he lit us up my freshman year. I just remember that, man, and I don't think that night when we got up from the game in the bed, all I thought about, man, I said, man, I got to go home. I got to get better, man. It was almost like, man, I think I might have had some nightmares of that guy shooting, man, because, man, he lit us up, man. Like I said, I wish I could remember his name, but I was determined then to try to get better.
So how was how was it playing with the older guys? Were they hard on you in practice, or did they kind of just let you do your thing? Because sometimes you have a freshman coming in and they feel like they might come and trying to take their spot or some of their playing time. They kind of hard on them. How was it for you?
Yeah, I think it was at first. I think it was kind of hard on me because, like you said, I was a freshman. And a lot of guys were saying, man, he's supposed to be on varsity as a freshman. He ain't really that good. I heard things like that, which just motivated me, to get better. But it wasn't easy playing on varsity. Even though, Roanoke, we was a small school, and it was 1A. People kind of look down on 1A, but we have good athletes at 1A schools. Colleges tend to overlook the smaller schools, but I think they miss some good athletes, at these smaller schools. But and then, as we carried on, during the season, I think they kind of, accepted me as one of them because, I started to get better, I hit some key shots, kind of started becoming little friends at school, talking to them a little more. So, but I think first it was kind of tough, but then they kind of learned to, kind of accept me as part of the group.
I know you said that you going into that your freshman season, y'all had a decent season, but you felt like y'all had potential.
Yeah.
Going into the first championship season, 95-96.
Yeah.
Did y'all feel like it was good enough to be a championship team, or did you just feel like y'all were just good enough to make a run?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you said that. Going back to earlier when I was talking about when we was at Carolina, I remember I saw some of the guys that was in our conference at the Carolina basketball school. And I remember right before we left, I said, man, we lost the second round the first year. I said, but, next year, I think we're going to be better. I said, we're going to be back here, playing in the state championship because, it was at Chapel Hill, Carolina basketball school that I was at. I said, yeah, we're going to be back here and we're going to win the state championship. But then I was just kind of talking, but I didn't really think it would, happen for real. But like I said, man, I saw potential a long time ago. Now, I didn't think we would win it that year, but I think, man, we just got in the playoffs, man, and we started playing really good. Like Coach Ack said, he thought we was a year ahead of ourselves, and even though we had a pretty good team, but I kind of thought we were probably a year ahead of ourselves as well. I know my brother was saying, matter of fact, right before we got here, we was talking on the phone, and he said he went to the state championship when Williamson played Jordan Matthews, and he said, man, if Roanoke come and play these guys, he said, they might get there. He said, I don't know if they're gonna beat these guys. So, but they were a good team too. Matter of fact, I think they had a guy that went to Carolina, Terrence Newby, to play.
Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned Coach Atkinson.
Coach Ack.
What was it like playing for Coach Ack? What was his practices like? Just playing for him. What was it like?
Man, transitioning from middle school to where we were doing our little conditioning here, transition to play under Coach Ack to, man, they believe in running. Like we would run, and man, it was tough. Coming from middle school, and nothing against, conditioning here, but it was nothing like playing under Coach Ack and Coach Daniels. The conditioning there, I think, was just really, really tough. But, Coach Ack, he was good, man. He was a good role model. I always saw him in school. We always talked. As a matter of fact, I believe my freshman year, when he pulled me aside and he said, he used to call him big man, he called everybody big man. He was like, big man, I think, when you leave, I think that's going to be the it for me.
So he told me that your freshman
year? Yeah, he told me that my freshman year. He said, I think that's going to be it. And it was back then, I was like, yeah, I didn't really think, he was doing it, but I think him and Coach James, I think they both left my senior year.
They were both gone by the time I got there, so yeah, they left.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I remember sometime in PE class, I'll be in PE class and I want it. But Coach Ash used to call it sandlot. He's like, I don't want y'all getting hurt, playing, in PE, it ain't worth it, He said that after the season you can work on your game, but during the season, it's easy to twist your ankle, So he used to make us either go in the weight room or play ping pong and said work on hand-eye coordination. So yeah, he didn't like us playing basketball, in PE, because I remember my freshman year, I think right before the tournament started, I think I sprained my ankle in PE class. And he pulled me in, he taped it. He was like, you don't need to be playing in here. It's okay for after the season, but if you get hurt during the season, and then you're out for, the basketball games, that can hurt the team. Yeah, so.
I was gonna save this question for later, but while we on act, everybody always say he didn't like for y'all to dunk. I just wanna, is there any truth to that? And what was the reason behind him not wanting y'all to dunk?
Let me tell you a funny story. My freshman year, me and Jamie Hyman. No, Coach Ash didn't really like us to dunk. He said use the backboard, lay it up. But we was in practice, I remember, and we was doing some type of break, maybe 3-on-2, 2-on-1, or it was something. But anyway, I went down, so I go dunk the ball. All right, then Binky go dunk the ball, and then Jamie comes and missed the dunk, and Coach Ash blows the whistle. Everybody get on the line. He said, we want to be a dunking team, we're going to be a running team. So he threw the ball to me and Jamie. I was a freshman, so, he was kind of breaking me in. Threw the ball to Jamie, threw the ball to me. He said, y'all two, since you want to dunk, y'all go down and dunk. So I went down, I dunked. He said, y'all better make it. I went down, I dunked, made mine. Jamie come down, he's like, please make it. Because we knew if he missed, we knew who was going to be on the line. He went down, boom, bounced out. Where's that? Coach Ash blew the whistle. Everybody on the line. And I was looking at some of those scenes at Junior. I said, man, they're going to get us. And he ran the mess out of us. But no, Coach Ash, I didn't think he really liked us dunking. He wanted us to lay the ball up.
Yeah.
But I remember in the locker room, Snell came up to me. Snell was big. Snell was a big guy. He was like, man, y'all made us run up there, but they're looking like, yeah. But he said, that's all right, man. He said, man, you just got to, just make it next time, man. Just work hard. So he was kind of encouraging me. But yeah, Coach Ed, I don't think he really liked us.
I was staying on that. There were times where, this is just my memory, me watching the game. I don't know if it was true, but it seemed like times where if in a game you missed a dunk, you knew you were coming out. And I've seen it personally where you miss a dunk and then somebody running to the table.
Yeah. Well, one thing Coach Ack said, I think he learned to, because me and Binky, man, we got to the point that we were just dunking. We get a break, we was gonna dunk it. Then he got to the point where Coach Ack, he started accepting the dunk because the game has started to change, and I was taught, and especially today's game, if you go and lay the ball up, guys coming behind, swatting, man, guys are so athletic now, man. So you go up, man, you need to go ahead and finish it. So, and back when I was coming up, it was some athletic guys, but they started to get really athletic. And I remember, I'm not gonna say his name, but man, he went up and he finger rolled the ball over the rail. Guy came and swatted it in the stands, and I went up to him. I said, man, don't that rest that time. That way he won't block it. But so my brother Thurman always said, man, when you go up, you need to flush it so it won't give them a chance to come behind you and swat it. So
was it Derrick Jenkins? Because I was in the game. was it's like a serious.
Yeah.
And I was playing, maybe Bun, but
Yeah.
I remember it was at the gold did a concession stand, and I remember he swatted it in the stands.
He swatted it in the stands, man. Yeah.
When he dunked it next time.
He did, and he hurt his
wrist. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he swatted it in the stands, man. I was like, wow.
Who were some of the tougher teams during that first championship season that you remember playing against?
Well, of course, Wilson is always tough, no matter what. That was our rival. So I remember. I think we only played Wilson one time that year because the second game they came to Roanoke and they beat us. Actually, it was kind of early in the season. And then the second game, we was looking forward to it because we was like, no, it's Wills, we're gonna get them back. We're gonna get them back on the home floor. I think it snowed, and we never made it up. So Wilson was always a tough game. Let me see, my sophomore year, I think we lost 2 times that year. Oh, Aurora, conference championship game. Aurora beat us. They had a guy named Dennis Gaskin, and man, he lit us up in the conference championship game right on our home floor. I think he hit like 30-some points, man, to beat us. I think they was number 2 in the conference that year. We beat them both times during the regular season, but man, he came back with a vengeance, man. He lit us up. So they beat us in the conference championship. I remember I didn't have a real good game that game. I think I scored in the teams like 14, 15 points, but I didn't have a real good shooting game that game. But and then the game before the state championship, which I almost already had about tears in my eye because I thought we had lost. We was down by 7 with 44 seconds left, man. We was down by 7 with 44 seconds left at Dixon High School. And, man, it was just a miracle, man. We came back and won it with 44 seconds. And Blake came down because Dixon missed free throws. And, even when I'm coaching now, I tell guys, man, free throws is a hidden way to score. You got to hit free throws. We fouled Dixon, and they missed free throws a few times down the court. And Blake comes down, shoot a 3, gets fouled. Then the game is like 3 points just all of a sudden. And we fouled them. They missed free throws again. Blake come down, hit a 3-point, and then all of a sudden this game is tied. And I don't remember how many seconds left. Probably no more than about 20 or 10 seconds by then. And I'm looking like, dang, man, the game is tied, like just that quick. And then I don't know what happened, but Dixon lost the ball because they had the ball, of course, and somebody got the ball. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I remember them throwing it down to Blake.
I want to say it was Cedric Razor.
I think it was because I think he got the MVP of that regional tournament, which I tell guys it's not all about scoring. I don't think Cedric Razor scored a lot. He just did a lot of things to, like steals, rebounds, forcing turnovers, kind of controlling the game. And he must have got a key steal, threw it to Blake, and Blake been a layup, the guy fouled, and then all of a sudden, within 44 seconds, we're up by 2, like just that quick, man. And then you said we won it, man. Yeah.
I had that question for later, but I'll go ahead and ask it now. Was there anything in the did y'all have a timeout or anything somebody said or the coach said that y'all were able to come together and pull that out of you? Or
well, man, timeouts, man. Snell, which Cedric Razor, man, he was always, man. He had that heart in it, man. He had that winning, He was just because I didn't think that football, I think football was Snell's, best. And baseball, I think, was his best sport, but he really loved football. And man, I just think he wanted to get that state championship because he was a senior that year. And man, he kept encouraging us, man, don't give up, man. Don't worry about the referees. Don't worry, this game is not over with, man. He said, let's keep playing until it's over with. And me, I'm thinking, man, I'm looking up at the clock, like, man, we down by 7, man. 44 seconds there. you know, if they would have hit free throws, they would have won. It would have been over. But man, they missed free throws, man, and like I said, he kept encouraging us that don't give up, and we won it, man. I still can't believe it to the day that we came back with down by 7 with 44 seconds left. Yeah.
And I was gonna say that was probably y'all tough, like, cause everything at the championship was easy after that game, right?
Yeah, we played. You know, that was the game before you know, to lead us, you know, into the state championship, and only thing we heard about was how good Jordan Matthews was, which they were good. I don't think they had a real good state championship game, and we played well, you know, in that state championship. But yeah, man, it was quite an experience, man. Yeah.
we followed y'all. Man.
Fan support was definitely.
I remember those 44 seconds. I didn't know how many seconds it was, but man, I remember. Cause I remember that other team over there, man. They were, the other fan were all the people.
They were cheering and yelling.
And when it come down, when this was happening, and because we were feeling just like y'all were feeling.
I was already almost tearing up. Like, dang, man, you know.
And man, it was like the script just flipped.
Yeah.
We were all the pieces. They looked like they saw ghosts over there. I saw it.
Yeah.
They were like a blank page.
Yeah.
And then we were just. It was just unbelievable.
I still can't believe
I felt it when you said it. When he said that, that's how we felt right there.
Yeah.
I didn't know how many points we were down, and I didn't know how many seconds it was. But
it felt like it was over with. Right?
Yeah.
It was a long. It was like.
You're right. They were already celebrating.
They were celebrating big time.
It was 7 points and 44 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember those numbers.
Man. Like I said, man, I already man, I was like, man. Well, I guess we got to get better. We're gonna win it. We're gonna try to win it next year, man. And then just like my brother said, he said somebody told him, I said, man, how quickly things can change.
It happened.
It just happened, just like that, man. And next thing I know, we going to the state championship.
Wow.
And me being like a 10th grader, man, and I told the guy, I said, we coming back here. We gonna win the state championship. It was a reality, man. It came true.
So going into the second championship season, what kind of expectations did y'all have going into that season after coming off of a championship and with a lot of your starters coming back?
Yeah. Well, I remember Coach Jack pulling me aside because my freshman and sophomore year I didn't start. Even though my sophomore year I still led the team in scoring, but I still came off the bench, which always just to be later, I always tell my players it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish the game. So I said, don't worry about starting, okay? Just worry about finishing the game right. But Coach Jack pulled me aside and he said, well, next year, you're going to be inserted in the starting lineup, and you're going to have a bigger role, next year being in the starting lineup, and coming back, I was a junior and I was surrounded by 4 seniors, so I was the only junior, in the starting lineup. So coming back for that second year, we was kind of expected. We weren't expected to win it the first year, but the second year we was kind of expected to win. And, of course, we had a really good season. I think we lost twice that year too, which won against Williamston again. And I think Mickey got hurt that year. I think that was my sophomore year. He got hurt. But I remember us losing to Janesville. At Janesville, my junior year, I don't know. Maybe he got hurt then. Maybe he got hurt that year. I can't remember. But I think that's the 2 games that we lost that year, Janesville and Williamston, and then we won all the other games. But I remember when we was in Janesville, man, when we lost, I was so mad, man. I showed a lot of frustration, in the locker room. I usually, in the locker room, we come together. I didn't say much and everything, but Coach Ack, he told me that he knew, and he said it in front of the whole team. He said he knew when I showed that frustration when we lost. He said he knew I was going to be a leader that next year, because he never saw me like that, because I didn't think we played up. Which James was a pretty good team that year, but I didn't think we took that game serious as we were supposed to, and they beat us. And I was really upset, and I showed it in the locker room. Now I'm not gonna tell you everything I did in the locker room, but man, I was upset. I was really upset.
That answer, I had that question here. I knew y'all lost this, but my question for you is going to be, no disrespect to Janesville, but it was going to be, how did y'all lose to Janesville that season? But I mean, you already answered this.
Yeah, and we just didn't take them serious. And like I said, no disrespect to Janesville, they had a good season that year because they made it to the sectionals in the state playoffs. And I remember, man, it was just one key play that me and Derek Jenkins got mixed up, and Allen Hagan, somebody set a screen, and it's crazy how you can remember this stuff. Somebody set a screen, and me and Derek kind of got mixed up, and they hit Allen Hagan in the back for a layup, and that was a key layup to put them up right kind of towards the end of the game, man. And I think that hurt us, because like I said, me and Derek got kind of mixed up, man. Me and Derek looked at each other. We kind of yelled at each other, man, you supposed to switch and everything. But and that's not the only play that caused us to lose the game. But that was a key play to put them up. But we win as a team and we lose as a team. So it was the whole team fault that we lost that game. So we didn't play well at all, I don't think.
You said a while ago about Coach Atkinson calling you a leader, or saying that you could be a leader. Mm-hmm. Who were some of the more vocal leaders on that team, on that championship team, the second one? Well, both of them.
Our first year, of course, it was Snell. He was the leader. He was definitely a vocal leader on that team. The second year, I think Blake was a really good leader. I mean, he always encouraged us. When we would get down, he was all. And Blake played multiple positions. So Blake, I think, was the Scottie Pippen of our state championship team. I mean, because he played the point. So I remember sometimes he had to play the 4, he would play the 3. So I mean, he was a good leader for our team, man. And Blake was a good reason. Well, all of us, not taking nothing from all the guys, we win, like I said, we win as a team and lose as a team. But Blake was a good part of our success as well, man, because he did a lot. I mean, he rebound, assists, steals. I mean, he did a lot, man.
One of y'all tougher games that season, the first game of the regionals against Pamlico.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that game. What you remember from that game?
Well, man, I remember. Pamlico was tough, man. I remember looking at the papers, and I was looking at their record. I was like, dang, man, because they didn't have a really good record. I don't know what happened during the season, but you can't judge people by their records, because the playoffs, either you win or you go home. So I was like, man, these guys can't be that good, looking at their record. But I said, I can't judge them. But man, once that game started and I saw how good they were, I was like, man, their record don't reflect how good they were. And man, if I'm not mistaken, I think they was up a majority part of the game, if I can remember. They took us right on to the end. But I think what separated us, man, Coach Ackendane, they had us in such good shape, man. I think Pamlico gave out of gas. And I remember Coach Ack was saying that, he wanted to have us in good shape. He said at the end of the game, when everybody's tired, he wanted us to still be standing tall, looking at our opponent laughing while they're bent over, huffing and puffing. And, during the game, we really didn't give out of gas, man, because, like I said, Ack had us in such good a shape. I remember hitting a 3 to put us up towards the end of the game, because we was battling, man. We was battling all game. They had some good players, man. There's that guy that, matter of fact, my brother Thurman was talking about, that guy that I was guarding. I think he was number 12. And he was a pretty good shooter. Matter of fact, when I was at East Carolina. He went to East Carolina, matter of fact, and I used to see him in the recreation center, and we would talk about that game. And that was a tough game.
Then they had a player last name Cradle. I can't remember his first name.
Was a big kind of big guy. Yeah.
Last name was Cradle. I remember that.
Yeah. They were tough, man. Like I said, I don't know why their record was like that. Maybe they had some players out hurt, but man, they were a good team. Yeah. Nothing against the state championship team that we beat, but I think Pamlico was a better team than the team we played in the state championship. Yeah.
What kind of pressure, was there any pressure for y'all going into those games that second season after coming off the championship and people expecting you to win? What kind of pressure was it for you? How did y'all deal with that pressure?
Yeah, I think it was more pressure the second time because everybody was expecting us to win, and we didn't want to let people down. So I think it was a lot more pressure the second. The first time, people wasn't expecting us to win, so we didn't really have nothing to lose. But when everybody's expecting you to win, expecting a certain thing out of you, man, yeah, that's a lot of pressure, man. You don't want to let people down, and if you lose like we lost those two games, we feel that we let the fans down because I wanted to have an undefeated season, which that's kind of hard no matter what level you're at. But I felt that we did let them down a little bit losing those two games, but like I said, you can't win them all. Like I said, it's hard to have an undefeated season, but the pressure was definitely a lot tougher the second time.
You did mention that y'all lost to Williamston at least one time each of those seasons. Do you remember any of the players on those teams, on those Williamston teams?
Yeah, man, Curtis Cofield, man, he was tough, man. Matter of fact, it's crazy because we found out that after we graduated, I didn't realize I was related to the Cofield boys. I never realized that until after high school, man. But Curtis was tough. A guy named Peanut, I think his real name was Daniel Everett. I think Peanut was one of the best point guards that I've seen, man. He was really good. They had Jarvis, Jarvis Cofield, Curtis' little brother. He was good. Let me see. Let me think of some of the other guys. My freshman or sophomore year, they had a guy, a shooter. I think he's called him Pooh or something. I forgot his name. He was a shooting guard. He was pretty good. I think that's what they used to call him. Of course, Wilson had some good teams too, and they girls had some good teams too. As a matter of fact, Thurman is married to Sherry. Remember Sherry from Wilson? Thurman is married to her sister. So
Sherry Forrest.
Yeah, Martin County period has had some good athletes. Most Roanoke and Wilson is always been that rival. Always had really good athletes, but even Barrygrass and Janesville down to baseball, they had really good baseball teams, man. So I think a lot of people tend to overlook the Martin County areas, but Martin County has produced a lot of good athletes, man. And a lot of athletes have been overlooked in this small Martin County area.
What was it like for y'all after winning those two championships, just at school, around town? What did it feel like? What was it like for you?
Oh man, we were kids, man. So we playing at the ding dong twice, man. That kind of pumped our head up. So people when more people respected us, they respected us what we did, and man, it was just the fans. You're going out in the community. And they said, "Oh yeah, man, that's you. Yeah, you're winning the state championship, man. It made you feel good about yourself, man. And then me, being from this, little small community of Oak City, of course, everybody knew each other, man. It just made you feel good, man. It made you feel like you accomplished things. And my mom and dad always, told me, man, be proud of your accomplishments, man, because a lot of people don't accomplish the things that you did, in high school. And that, that's true. I mean, no matter what level you're at, man, it's hard to win a championship, no matter whether it's a conference championship, just a regular tournament championship, better yet, a state championship, man. It's hard to win it. Yeah, it is. And it's hard, better yet, it's hard to win back to back. You don't see it other than Tarboro, their football team is just crazy, and then Rose baseball team, those teams like they're just crazy. But man, it's just hard to win championships in a row, man. And then you have everybody gunning for you. When everybody's gunning for you, man, it's hard to come out and beat teams night in and night out, because other teams feel like they don't have nothing to lose, so they're going to give you that best. They're going to give you their best every time. And you, being on top, you may not give it that your best every time, because you're already on top. So you don't got further to go. So it's easy for a team to slip up and beat you. Like I said, nothing against Janesville. They slip up and they beat us, man. And sometimes a loss is good, because it brings you back to reality. Yeah, it shows you that you can be beat at any time. So we went back to regroup after that loss. So I think that loss to Janesville was a good loss. Crazy as that sounds, but
you mentioned accomplishing things, be proud of your accomplishments, what you did in high school. That kind of takes me to the next question about college. At what point in your high school career did you start thinking about where you wanted to go? Did you always want to go to ECU, or did you have other options? How did that come about?
Well, I really wanted to play at Carolina. That was my ultimate goal, to play at Carolina. But I think my junior year, a guy kind of pulled me aside. I was at Prep Stars. It was an invitational camp. It was like the best kind of North Carolina high school athletes in it. And I think it's all of North Carolina, and it was held in Charlotte. And a guy, I forgot his name, but he pulled me aside. He was like, "Listen, son, I heard you want to go to Carolina." I said, "Yeah, that's true." He said, "Have you received anything from them yet?" I said, "No." He said, "All right, so let's be reality. You're not going to Carolina." And he said, "I see you have potential." He said, "But son, you're not an ACC player." That kind of brought me back to reality too. Nothing against the CAA or Conference USA, but man, back then the ACC, man, they had some of the top-notch players, man, and man, they were really good. So, but yeah, that was my ultimate dream to play at Carolina. It didn't happen, I guess it wasn't in the Lord's plans, for me to play at Carolina. But ECU was always an option for me, just because it was home. It wasn't far away. My family is here. The people I grew up is here, and it's right down the road. My daddy was actually working the games and stuff there. So, and I knew a lot of people in East Carolina, because a lot of local people went to East Carolina. So
you said you wanted to play at ECU, but UNC. You realized that probably wasn't gonna happen. So
yeah.
You ended up going to ECU, but were there any other? Did you have any other options? Anywhere else did you consider playing besides ECU?
Yeah. Well, Virginia Tech, used to send me letters all the time. UNCC, UNC Asheville. There was other schools in there. I even had a letter from way out, Nebraska, area, and I really didn't consider it was just kind of too far, away from home. But I mostly like the North Carolina school, at A&T, Central. I had letters from them. I kind of wanted to stay kind of local, so I didn't want to go too far away from my family, because I've always been real big on family. Been family oriented. I'm family oriented now. I wanted my mom and dad and brothers, I just wanted them to be able to come, and see me play. And I didn't want to be, too far away from, which is nothing against, players going far away, from home. You have to do what you have to do to get, to get to where you want to be. But like I said, I was family oriented, so I kind of wanted to be local, and East Carolina was the perfect place for my family to come over to see me play.
So did you end up going to ECU on a full scholarship, or how did that come about?
Yeah, well, this is what I had to do. I had trouble, with the SAT, with trying to make the score to get the scholarship. So I ended up having to go to Elizabeth City first, and then I transferred over to East Carolina. And what happened, Coach Dooley, who was the coach that recruited me, man, he got fired. Yeah, so that kind of hurt me, because I used to go over to East Carolina all the time when I was in high school to play with some guys, so that hurt. So when Coach Herring came in, he offered me a spot on the team. He said, "Yeah, I did research on you. I know who you are. I know Coach Dooley was recruiting you, so I'm going to offer you a spot on the team," because he said, "I know you can help me." He said, "I've seen you play. I've seen highlights of you in high school, and like I said, I know Coach Dooley was after you and wanted you to come here." So he came in. Coach Herring had his own kind of type of players, and I don't think I really fit in with his style of play, but it was I guess it was something about me that he liked. So, he offered me a spot on the team, and I had some success at East Carolina as well. I didn't have the success that I would like to, but I did have some success at East Carolina. But coming from Roanoke to East Carolina Division I, it was different, man. Because people look at players, like I say, nothing against East Carolina. They look at East Carolina like, man, those guys, or anybody can beat those guys. But man, I'm telling you, that's not true. I mean, those guys, anybody that's playing D1 ball, those guys, man, those guys are good. Trust me. I mean, it's not easy playing against those guys. So it was a big adjustment. I mean, because you got to think about everybody that's playing in college was the star on their high school team. Yeah. Almost kind of like middle school. When you get to high school, a lot of those guys in middle school were stars at their middle school, and then they're in high school. So everybody on the college team was stars. So you put all those guys together, man, you got to step your game up, even more. And basically the same thing when you go up to the pro level. All those guys, they were stars on their college team. Now they at the pros, and so then you got to elevate your game even more.
So basically, that was one of my questions. What was the difference in intensity from high school to college, even in the practices? Like,
practices, man. Especially my first year, it was rough. It was rough to adjust, man, because we were getting up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we weren't just running. We were doing like conditioning drills. And when I first looked at conditioning drill, they used to call it the circuit. And I was like, man, this is easy. I mean, it's just 3 things you go to. But man, after you start going through those stages, man, you start getting tired, and it was tough. And you're talking like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning with guys that still have sleep. So it's different, man. And you ain't got mama and daddy to wake you up every morning to tell you to go. And when you're at that level, even just going to classes, or, if you're an athlete, or if you're fortunate enough to be an athlete in college, you ain't got mama and daddy there to tell you to get up, so you easily can slip off. I mean, I had a teammate, I'm not going to say his name, but he wasn't mentally ready for college. He was young, he's entered college at 17, and he was far away from home. He wasn't mentally ready, man, and he didn't make it the next semester. He went back home because it's an adjustment, man. I mean, you're talking a 17, 18-year-old kid having to grow up and adjust quick. I mean, my schedule literally. I got up. We We went to conditioning. There's either weight room or the gym for our little circuit. We were done, let's say 7:15. We all had early classes because we had practice that afternoon. All right, so after the conditioning or after the conditioning, you had to go to class, okay? So you have to, if you want to get breakfast, you had to go get breakfast real quick. Get there, you had to make those 8 o'clock classes. Then after, let's say you have 3 classes to about 11, 12, then we have study hall in the afternoon. We had to go to study hall. Rather than study hall, then you had practice, okay? And then after practice, you eat and you have to do your work, you know, the work that you didn't finish in study hall. And then you go to bed and then you start right back over in the morning. So it's just that strict schedule, like all the time. And then, you know, during the off season, you know, don't think you're just gonna chill. During the off season, you're doing stuff all year long. So after the season, you have workouts like 3 days a week. You have conditioning like 2-3 days a week. So I mean, it's Monday through Friday. You're doing things, all right. And then like after you finish your workouts and classes during the day, you may have free play that night. So 6-7 o'clock, you know, you're free playing that night against you guys. So man, your whole 4 years, I mean, you have a strict structured schedule, and you got to be motivated and committed to it, because if not, man, you're gonna slip off. Yeah, and that's college period, man. You know, even if you're not an athlete, you got to be committed to those classes, man, because it forces you to grow up, you know, really fast. And, you know, and if you're not disciplined and committed, you know, you easily can fall off. And that's what I tell kids. You know, when you go to college, you know, you ain't got mom and daddy to wake you up. Then you got to be disciplined. So if you go to class, you go to class. If you don't, the teachers ain't gonna be calling your parents and say, "Hey, such and such not in the class." You know, you just kind of know. So you either get it or you don't. I mean, you're a grown up. So,
you mentioned you went to Elizabeth City before you went to East Carolina. Mm-hmm. Did you play basketball at Elizabeth City?
Yeah, I was on the team, but I had to sit out because of my SAT score. D1 and D2 back then, I don't know how it is. It was a long time ago. I think you had to make at least an 820. If not, you had to sit out your first year. Okay, so I had to sit out. So I was expected to come back. That probably, like I said, Dooley got fired. Then Harry came in, so he brought me over. So I was able, but yeah, and I'm telling you, D2 athletes, just because they D2 doesn't mean they because those guys at Elizabeth City could play, man.
Did you practice with them?
Yes, I practiced, open gym and everything, and man, they were good. I mean, you know, I went there, I was like, well, you know, this is Division II. I automatically, so man, I'm better than these guys, man. But no, that wasn't necessarily the case, because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of those Division II guys are more like they're Division I players, but they may not had the opportunity, or they may not necessarily had the grades, as they say, so they went D2. But those guys are good, man. I mean, so don't let just because they Division II fool you. Those guys are really good players too.
Do you remember your best game in college? Period. At ECU.
Probably. Let's see here. He's still talking a long time ago. Probably against. I think we played against a team. It was an exhibition game, like a Nike. It was some. I think they were like semi-pro players. You know, exhibition game. And I don't remember exactly how many points, but I remember I had a good game that game. And I remember actually one of my teammates, Jonathan Moore, towards the end of the game, he threw me a alley-oop, and I caught it, but I missed it. And, you know, I was like, dang, man, I was about to incite that crowd. But I think that was one of my best games, one of those exhibition games. Like I said, I didn't have the success that I wanted to at East Carolina. You know, I did get hurt year. You know, I was out the whole season. I think I played in like 6 or 7 games, and then I was out like the rest of the season. I had a stress fracture, and man, it just took so long to heal. I was trying to get back. I think I tried to come back too soon, and I think it put me out like the whole season, man. So, and then that following year, I think which I was going into, it was my junior, senior year. I was like, yeah, this is my year. This year. And man, I hurt my hamstring, man, and it took me a while to get back and come back in, because a hamstring, man, that's an injury, man. It hurts, and it affect your lateral movement, your running, man, and man, that put me down for a while, as well. So I wish I had more success in college, but unfortunately, I did. But I learned a lot. I was able to meet a lot of players, I was able to meet a lot of coaches that I grew up watching. It still was a good experience, and I learned a lot from, playing college basketball.
Going off of that note, you say you met a lot of coaches. Did you, at that time, know that you wanted to go into coaching, or was it something that just kind of happened after you finished school?
Yeah, I think I wasn't really sure, while playing college ball, whether or not I wanted to be a coach. But we worked basketball camps, of course, and so we had our little teams that we coached, and I really enjoyed it. I would always pair it up, with the little kids. And that's probably the reason why I teach at the elementary level, because I kind of felt in love, working with the little kids. But I think, coming out of college, I don't think coaching was really kind of on my mind, actually my last semester, because it took me 4 years and a half, my last semester, I got a job at J. Drones High School, driving the bus, and a guy named Lee Nicholson, I don't know if he used to coach at Roanoke. He was, I think he was one of the assistant football coaches at Rose. Rose had good success in football. Yeah, he was like, the 9th grade basketball coaching position is open. I was like, well, I might, consider that. So he said, well, let's go talk to Coach James Rankin. He was the varsity basketball coach, so he oversaw the boys program. And so we went in. He was teaching PE, and so the kids was kind of doing their own thing. He started talking to me. He said, yeah, coach, he was already calling me coach. He said, I remember you at East Carolina. I said, yeah, I remember you used to come over to the clinics and everything. He said, well, the job is yours if you want it. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. So, and I was young. I think I was like, 22, 23. So I took that job, and I really found out playing and coaching is two totally different things. I had to learn a whole lot,
So the J. Rose 9th grade team was your first coaching job?
That was my first coaching job, and it's crazy because I started off as a head coach. I didn't start off as an assistant coach. So it was like I said, it was a lot of things to learn, and I think going back, I probably should have started off, as an assistant to kind of learn some things. Because like I said, I think I assumed that I knew how to coach because, I was a decent player, but that's not necessarily the case. I mean, some of the best players are not, successful coaches. So, I worked at it. I went to coaching clinics. I watched older guys. Even some of the coaches that I watched, they weren't necessarily players, but they worked at it and they knew the game. So I watched them. I remember when Roy Williams got the job at Carolina, I went to his Carolina coaching clinic, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that year they won the national championship, if I'm not mistaken. But I learned a lot from Roy Williams, and a lot of my philosophy plays and things come from Roy Williams. Like I said, the Carolina secondary break, every year that I've coached, I've done that, that secondary break. So, yeah, it was a lot to learn, man. But, and now, I took 13 years off. I coached at Rose, I coached at Southwest, and my last 2 years was at Tarver High. Then I took like a 13-year break, and now I'm back into coaching, which is right down the road and I'm coaching middle school boys at Hopgood Charter.
So you say you started your coaching career at J.H. Rose, coaching the freshman team, and then you went to Southwest and then Tarboro. How long were you at Southwest Edgecombe, and who did you coach there and at Tarboro?
Okay, well, like I said, I started at Rose. I think I was there for 9 years. I was the head ninth grade basketball coach there. And then I went to Southwest, where I was assistant under Tom Wooten, which is a funny story, man. When I was at Rose, you know, I taught at Stocks Elementary in Tarboro, and in the beginning of the year, we will always have like a big county meeting, you know, where all the teachers and staff come together. But even before then, I don't know how Coach Wooten got my number, but he was calling me over the summer and was like, "Man, I really need a assistant coach. You know, I'm prepping to go out and to retire, from coaching." So he was calling me during the summer. I kept turning him down from cause I said, "No, I'm gonna stay at Rose. I like it kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna stay there." But I kind of thought about it. I said, "You know what? That being a varsity assistant might get me to the step where I want to be. A varsity basketball coach." So when we had that big opening meeting, Coach Wooten, cause I turned it down a few times over the summer. He came. And he was like, "Coach, I really need you, So I think I turned it down like 3 or 4 times. All right, school year starts, and he called me a few more times, and I turned him down. I mean, it was like constantly, Tom Wooten's a good guy. Then I get a call from the office, Coach Savage, you have a guy here want to go to your classroom named Tom Wooten. I was like, "What?" I said, he done showed up at the school. So he came to my classroom. He said, "Coach, you got a minute?" I was like, "Yep." At this point, I was like, "Dang, man, this guy, this guy kept going and going." And then finally, after he talked to me and told me his intentions, I said, "You know what, Coach?" I said, "Yeah, I come on you at Southwest." And it was meant for me to go there because that's where I met my wife, at Southwest, because she was coaching there. So I guess it was just meant for us to meet, man, because Tom Wooten, he stayed consistent, man. He would not leave me alone until I finally decided to work. So I worked a year on Tom Wooten at Southwest Edgecombe, and then he ended up staying again the following year. I remember a guy named, y'all know Leon Dupree. He called me. He's a principal somewhere in Rocky Mount. He called me and told me, he said, "Man, the Tarboro basketball job is going to be open pretty soon." And I said, "Well, I'll apply for it, because I wanted to be a head varsity coach." And I applied for it, and I got hired as the Tarboro basketball coach. And my first year there, actually, we didn't have a lot of success during the season, but when we got to the end, we started coming together and we started playing good ball, and we actually went to the conference championship game. And but man, Kinston was like loaded. Yeah, I think they had Brandon Ingram, who's in the NBA now. I think they had a guy that was going to A&T at the time. I think Brandon Ingram there was either freshman or sophomore. And man, they had a bunch of more players. I can't remember their names, but man, Kinston had was a loaded squad, and we were playing the championship game at Kinston. So that even made it even harder to beat Kinston on their home floor. And man, I'm telling you, that high school game, I think it was probably the most people I ever seen, with my eye at a high school basketball game. I mean, it was just loaded. It was loaded around.
That was the conference championship game.
Yeah, that was the conference championship game, tournament championship. Yep.
So y'all still in the 2A. That Tarboro was still 2A at that time.
Yeah, I think we was 2A then. And the conference we were playing in was pretty good. I mean, you had like North Pitt, Kinston, Bedingfield,
Was Green Central in there?
Yep, Green Central. So it was a pretty good conference, man. They had some pretty good athletes there. And like I said, Tarboro, of course they're known for football, but they had some pretty good athletes there. And he said that after those 2 years at Tarboro, I kind of decided to step away. And I was out of it for 13 years, Then I kind of had a family then too, and, had 2 girls, kind of wanted to be there, for them. And then this year I decided to get back, into coaching, but middle school boys. And it's different coming from high school level, especially varsity, down to coaching middle school. But I'm enjoying it right now. We got a lot of work to do, but I'm trying to build a good program there so it can help the high school out, and we'll see. We just started the season. We haven't won a game right now, but we got a long ways to go, and I'm excited for the future.
What would you say was the biggest win in your coaching career? What, in your eyes, what was the biggest win in your coaching career?
Probably just any years. I would say when I was at Tarboro, when we got in the tournament, probably, I don't know if it was Bedingfield or North Pitt that we beat to go to the conference championship, because we didn't have my first year, we didn't have a real good successful season, but like I said, towards the end, we kind of band together and we kind of started playing. So I think the game, it was either North Pitt or Bedingfield that we beat, and both of them was really good teams that we beat to go to play Kinston in the conference tournament championship. Man, Kinston was so good. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the players from your team, from that team? The Tarboro
My Tarboro team, yeah. We had a couple football players. It was a pretty good athlete. We had a guy named Tommy, I think his name was Tommy Purvis. Taquan Lewis, he played for a little while. He's in the NFL now. Let's see. We had a guy they used to call, got his name. They used to call him G. I forgot his name. We had a guy named Bryson. He was my leading scorer. He actually was my MVP that year. Very, very talented kid. We had a freshman kid. He was about 6'4". Man, that's when the kid came in freshman. When we first started having workouts, he was about 6'1", 6'2". And by the time the season started, he was about 6'4". Like him, and he grew just that fast. Those are some of the players that I kind of remember. We had a guy named Larry Jones. He was a good football player. Okay. He was my MVP, but he made all conference that year. He was my sixth man, but he was really, really important. He was a leader too. We had some twin guys.
That's why I want to ask you about
Kevin,
the twin. Yeah. I want to. You had the point guards.
Kevin was a really, really good shooter.
Yeah.
Man, Devin coming back as his senior. Devin was a really good leader. We had some pretty talented guys.
Any message or advice for a kid with aspirations to play basketball or coach or play basketball at the next level or go into coaching, like any message or advice for them?
Man, it's just no matter what you do, man, it's gonna take work. Like I said, growing up, when I was small, I always had the heart for it. I think, from my older brothers playing, me running, stealing the ball. Back then I just had a heart, man. But it takes work, man. You got to get out there to do the work if you want to be successful. Like I said, we was talking a while ago. Like those guys like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, some of those guys that those young guys may not know. Man, those guys just didn't be successful overnight. Those guys worked at it, man. They worked behind the scenes, the things that you didn't see. Like I said, they said Michael Jordan was working from sun up to sundown. And I mean, of course, everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, and it shows how good he was. They said Kobe work ethic was absolutely crazy. Like, I think I remember hearing him talk. Like, he would get up early in the morning, like 4 a.m., like go to work out, come back, eat, come back, work out, take a break, eat, come back, work out. Like, I mean, and you know, he had success in the NBA, which some people don't think he's one of the best players in the NBA. I think he's one of the best players that ever played. I mean, to me, I put Michael Jordan. Of course, Jordan is going to be always at the top of me, but Kobe is like right there, man, because Kobe said he looked at Jordan and studied his moves, and he you know, and he wanted to go back and make his skill even better. So, man, you got to work at it, man. It takes work to be successful, and it takes dedication. It takes commitment. And, you know, and that's, like I said, that's not only in sports. That's just in life, or anything you want to do. If you want to own a business, it's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of sleepless nights. It's going to take commitment, dedication. You know, sports, of course, it's going to take hard work, dedication. Just you know, focus, keep your mind right, and you know, work hard, man. And you know, you put your mind to it, man. You can do it and be successful.
So Craig, when he was a freshman, would always finish practice shooting 100 free throws, want to make 100 in a row. I was never happy if you made 80 or 85. Just pure all the time.